Just amazing. The energy between you two is just phenomenal. Seth, let's start with you. I wanted to kind of hear the story of how you came to the show. And when I remember Pam and Tommy's kind of origin story back in the day, but I had no idea about Rand or what really went on. Did you know all of that? How did you kind of come to the show and want to be not only star, but EP?
I don't know. I mean, I just seemed like the bumbling kind of dummy in over their head criminality.
Lily, let's talk a little bit about how you came on board. And what did you know, or how did you perceive Pamela before you started researching the part? And how did you get into the character?
Well, I was just so deeply shocked to my core when there was ever a thought that I would play Pamela Anderson. And so when the idea was floated and we spoke about it, and then I read the scripts and they were so good and so surprising. So I had no idea, like Seth was saying, that this was such a huge violation. This tape was stolen from them. And then the story that unfolds simultaneously with the birth of the internet and how that just made it so much worse. And it was a crime. And it just spoke to me, and I felt so passionate how that tends to happen in the media, how we treat women if these violations happen. And it just felt like such a brilliant, essential story with these, amazing people. And then I just studied Pamela more and more and more. And yeah. Thank you.
I agree. And Sebastian,
feel free to yell that to any of us as this unfolds.
Amazing work, Seth.
Yeah, no, just don't force it. But if you just feel the spirit take over, just.
What about you, Sebastian? Tell us about how you felt about Tommy Lee before this, and how you feel about him now, maybe.
With Larry Charles directing, actually, and that was from Vince Neil or whatever. So I'd read The Dirt, and I was familiar, but I didn't really know what was sort of done for me in a way. I just had to kind of go in there and just, find a way into the thing.
There it is again. So as always with playing real people, there's responsibility that comes with that. It's a complex task to take on. Did any of you meet the real people involved or reach out to them?
I did not.
Where is Rand now? I think he's living on a farm.
He's over to my acting as well. So,
for you, Lily, I mean, you're telling us there's a lot of trauma that Pamela goes through and that we see exposed in this show that I don't think anyone was even cognizant of at the time. So, did you feel the responsibility of telling that?
Huge responsibility every single day. It was always at the forefront of my mind was that I wanted to protect her and be a good custodian of her and be as honest as possible and empathetic as possible, but also, respectful. So it was this huge, like thing in my brain, just constantly, just thinking about it. And, but yeah, I think it's really frightening how the narrative about people, particularly in, in the public eye, gets spun by the media or by whoever, and you overlook the truth of what happened. And for any human being to experience a violation of that kind would have just been, so it became about even bigger than Pamela, about what the universal thing of how that would feel. And I just wanted to really try and convey that and hopefully, change people's perspective on it. Yeah.
Those deposition scenes they made my blood boil. You're in a situation where, Tommy has not been asked to show up, but Pamela's been asked to show up to defend her right to her own body. It's bizarre.
Well, just because she's chose a sexual person who's posed naked or been in a swimsuit means you don't deserve to have a say anymore what happens to your body. I mean, it's so absurd. And of course, the show really highlights the double standards between how men and women are treated.
Absolutely. And then she has to sit there and watch the sex tape with the creepy lawyers. And you just think, maybe we have made a bit of progress, because I'm not sure that would happen now.
Made some progress, but...
And so for both you two, obviously you're playing these really iconic characters that are so recognizable. Can you tell me a little bit about how you collaborated with hair and makeup and wardrobe to get to those people and really feel that you were inhabiting them?
Put the tattoos on, try the clothes, try everything, and then I think we both out them. It was they both required such a massive transformation, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, we were sort of 3 a.m. wake-ups because he had all his...
And everything is it's just magical. But what really struck me about the show is how they really had this tender love for each other. You really feel it. It's super sweet. And I felt like Tommy had this kind of rat bag rock and roll attitude, and then Pamela makes him this really soft person. It's just so adorable. How did you decide to settle on that kind of chemistry? Did you watch videos of them together? Like, how did you... Oh, no. I'm saying you're shaking your head.
Only because it was, I think it was like an everyday routine of I had compiled every single, like a 2-hour playlist of every interview I could find, and I was running and trying to get 20,000 steps a day, like, just on repeat, and you were, even between shots, as they were setting up, you were listening to her constantly. I mean, it was just a nonstop thing, right?
And Craig really, right from the word go, amazing director, Craig Gillespie. He really wanted, this is an opportunity to see them behind the camera, like not when they're displayed in an interview and, being your sort of on version, like what were they like intimately, privately together. And obviously that took a huge leap of imagination too. We can't possibly really know, but we...
So Seth, I know earlier you said, Rand was this kind of like pathetic figure and when you were reading the scripts. And but actually I kind of love the way he has this kind of absurd redemption story where he goes to the psychic and the psychic is like, essentially, you've done some woman great harm. And then he tries to kind of get his good karma back, but it's so selfish. He doesn't care about Pamela at all. He cares about saving his own skin, right?
Give it a try, yeah. Thank you. I'm a contender.
Show that you guys are most proud of achieving. It feels like such a timely story now, especially with the aspect of what Pamela went through in terms of kind of her sexualization and the way that society reduced her. Tell me about something that makes you so proud to have been in the show.
I'm just proud of...
I think changing the conversation around it, just, kind of contributing more to that and revisiting it and looking at it in a different way.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
1 star.
5 star. I give him a cash tip, a real tip. Yeah. The tips that guy doesn't take.
Well, listen, congratulations all of you on this brilliant series. Thank you so much for being here to talk about Pam and Tommy.
Thanks for having us.
And now it's over to Dominic with another Hulu show, The Dropout.